Hello and welcome to Restorative Realm Studio. My name is Heather Shipley. Today we are moving on to part 3 of thoracic region and shoulder blades. So we are moving on towards functional tasks and strengthening our muscles around our newly rediscovered mobility through our backs, our rib cage, and our shoulder girdles. Okay. Not that you ever graduate from doing those things on the blanket roll. Sometimes when you get home for the day and you just realize, I'm just kind of tight through here, why not take some time, mobilize, remind some of these muscles, oh yeah, you can help here, remind some of these structures, you can open up here, and then everything else that you do for the rest of that day is done in light of a better neuromotor pattern and better tissue balance. Anyway, we're going to start with a standing kind of version of the blanket roll, almost. So from standing, you're going to bring your arms out, and they can be a little more forwards, a little more to the side, whatever. I'm going to turn to the side so you can see me. You're going to start with, pretend you're holding bowls of soup in your hands, okay? Dump that soup out on the floor. As you do that, your shoulder blades come up towards your ears, they tilt forwards, your spine rounds. Okay, then reverse that. Make the bowls return to their proper position, shoulder blade posterior tilt, spine upright, tall. Do that a few times. Shoulder blades down, and I'm exaggerating here through my mid and upper back. Okay, the next time you go into the slumped position with your shoulder blades raised, pause. Okay. Look up to engage with the world. And can you see that this may be an exaggeration of a typical bad posture? Rounded, forwards, shoulders, raised shoulders, forwards, head. Lift your arms up. See what muscles are engaged and working too hard in this position. Granted, it's exaggerated, but still. Some of us get there. Oh my goodness, it's our upper traps. Ouch! We got a tension headache on the way. We got mid-back pain developing. Whatever is your weakest link. What's the solution? Get those shoulder blades back, engage muscles here. Oh my goodness. My arms feel way less heavy, let alone if I'm holding a child, right? We need these muscles to be strong and to help us, so we're not doing life with our neck. Okay, so a couple more times, back and forth. As an extra challenge, think about not moving from like your belly button down. So you're stuck in quicksand. You cannot move. So because I want to make sure that you are getting thoracic movement, mid and upper back movement, and that your attempts to get upright are not all just coming from your lumbar spine. Like I could stay curved and I could just be doing extension from my lumbar spine, and that would do nothing to help my neck and shoulders be healthier. Okay, so just kind of give that test. Think of, you might even kind of tuck your tail under so that you're kind of taking movement away from lumbar spine, and give it a few more attempts to just get some movement through your mid and upper back. If you want to think about it this way, plane of your sternum, your breastbone, looks down towards the floor and then transitions to more pointing up and forwards. Whatever cues work for you, I'm going to use them. Okay, well done. What we were practicing on the towel roll, the blanket roll, was more of a single arm at a time. And that's something that's a very functional movement. We don't often do the same thing with both arms. Even this is an exaggeration even of walking, as we are slow-mo walking in a correct, if we're moving in all the ways that we can move, we're going to see that forward tilt, back to this is happening in small amounts, unless you're a really extraordinary walker. So we're going to practice a little bit. This might look a little goofy, but we're going to practice that pattern on one side, and maybe even do the opposite on the other side. Just for fun here, extra credit, try bringing your left shoulder forwards, rounding through the left half of your mid-back, while you're bringing your right shoulder blade back and extending through the right side of your mid-back. So that has to come with a side bend. And then just go back and forth like that. So that weird sound that you just heard is actually breath going in and out of my lungs and the trachea and stuff, the pulmonary vessels that lead to the lungs, because I can move well through my upper ribs and my lungs get squeezed and then they're allowed to open up again. Kind of weird, but that's the potential. And that means that I've got good healthy tissue. My lungs can expand and contract. There's vitality there. Okay. What else was I going to do here? Just in case you think this is really weird, where would I ever use this? Consider when you see, okay, people do cable work that looks like chops or lifts, which is really good functional movement. You bend forwards. I mean, you could call this starting the lawnmower too. I mean, you don't just have to only encounter these movements if you go and find a cable machine. Down to up, that's a rounded back, that's a forwards tilted shoulder blade. And then you're going to an upright back, a posterior tilted shoulder blade, external rotation. So it's like pulling a sword, carrying a pizza. That's a pattern that we learned to teach people in physical therapy school as they're recovering from neuromotor damage. The reason why human movement can be so beautiful is because it really encompasses all three planes of motion at once. So we can move in arcs and spirals and diagonals. We are not limited to, okay, I'm gonna go to the gym, I'm gonna do cardinal plane movement, just my arms are gonna move, the rest of me is gonna stay rigid. There may be a time and a place for that, but on the whole, if we wanna function strongly as an entire body, these motor patterns and getting all the muscles to be on board and to do their part, it's just amazing. It's good stuff. All right, so we're actually going to do a little strengthening around our thoracic spine. So for those who, it's hard work to keep from getting here, but it's, you've done some work opening up through the front. Now we need to work on muscle endurance. That's where this exercise comes into play. So I don't know if you can see it. I have a chair here. You could use a chair or a stool, something like that. You're going to put one foot up on it. So by putting you into hip flexion here, there is basically no way that you're going to be able to cheat and do back lumbar extension instead of what we want thoracic extension. So what you're going to do is you're going to kind of bend over the leg that you have up on the chair. Okay, back can be rounded, and your leg is just kind of, you're centering your sternum kind of over that thigh. Arms are going to be relaxed. They don't have any part, your scapular muscles have no part of back extension. So all you're going to do is you're going to leave your belly button on your thigh. You're going to just try to lift up like your sternum off your knee. And you're just going to hold it. And you're going to stay relaxed through your neck, through your face. You're going to stay relaxed through those shoulder girdles. And you're just going to hold this. If you're already cramping out through mid-back muscles, then take a break. So some of you might be starting with 10 seconds and then a rest. Some might be like, meh, I don't really feel it till 20 or 30 seconds. Some of you don't need this work. And take it if you need it, leave it if you don't. But everyone can benefit from assessing whether they're working too hard through some upper traps, through neck muscles. Yeah. Switch sides. So you're going to work on, do one on the other side, not that there's too much difference. It's one back that we're working here. But I'm going to talk for just a minute about posture, and you should keep working. So how many people have been told, or try for themselves, or tell someone else, to have good posture, you need to throw your shoulders back and get your ears back over your shoulders. I see this quite frequently. People come in and they're having back pain and they're like, I've been told to get my shoulders back, and I'm exaggerating. Okay, I'm exaggerating some posture here to make a point. Get my shoulders back, get my head back. And has that done anything to really fix your posture? No. But what is it doing? It is shearing at the base of your neck, which causes referred pain down into your mid back. It causes muscle spasms, it pulls ribs out of place. Like, it's not good. And it causes a lot of tension through scapular muscles, and they're being asked to work in a lengthened range. So they are going to be getting trigger points, knots, and all this stuff. What is needed is, think of your sternum, point it up a little bit. You get that thoracic extension. Then there may be some cleanup that we need to do on, okay, your pecs have been shortened for a long, long time. Some of these back muscles, scapular muscles, have been lengthened and they've gotten inhibited and weak. There'll be some secondary work that we do front to back to balance out. Primary thing has to be your thoracic spine. Okay, hopefully you've got a good little workout there of your thoracic spine extensors. And we will move on to the last thing that we're going to do, which is add a little resistance. We're going to just have a small, this is 1 or 2 pounds. 2 pounds in our hands. But it's going to feel like more than that. So we're actually going to return to the side sitting position that I showed you in part 2. Pardon me, I've got to move this tripod. I'm going to need more space than that. Okay. Oh no. I'm sorry, guys. I don't know how to edit videos yet, so you had to see all that. So you are going to start side sitting right. You're mirroring me. Okay, so you are side sitting right. There's a line: left hip, right hand, right middle finger, extension of that line. you're going to take this, it could be a soup can. You're going to take it in your left hand and just kind of rest it on your left knee. And then do you remember the pattern that we practiced last time? We kind of drove it from your right shoulder last time. We're going to be focusing on the left arm this time, but this is still going to be happening. Okay, so as you go down into the slumping part of the pattern, the ball is going to be kind of resting on your knee or just near it. As you come up into the upright part of the pattern, you're going to reach forwards. I'm going to actually reach even more out over my right knee because I want you to see the angle of my upper back, that uprightness, which we were practicing last time, and that shoulder blade is upright. Okay, you could do it here, you could do it more to the direction that your torso is turning. It doesn't matter. We're practicing a pattern. So as you slump down and your left sit bone gets closer to the ground, ball is resting. As you rotate to the right, reaching out with that left hand, just hold there. Feel what muscles are working. You should feel something wrapping around from your shoulder blade towards your mid-back. You should be pretty relaxed in your neck. It's not working, okay? Go into the slump position. Allow your hand to tilt over, keep the weight there. Allow that shoulder blade to come up. Ugh. Feel what muscles you are now using. That is upper trap. That is right up into your neck and head. Not ideal. Better. Much better. You could hold this here for a lot longer. So just go back and forth and practice that. And 2 pounds way out on the end of your arm, it feels like a lot more than that to these muscles. Like they're gonna be getting a little work. Okay, so switch hands, switch sides, establish the line, the position. Just rest. So ball is in your right hand now, resting on your right knee. Go ahead and just get that spiral side sitting pattern down, getting short, getting tall, and making sure that as you slump down and rotate your pelvis to the right, as your right sit bone is getting closer to the ground, as your back is rounding, look down at that right hip. Don't crank up your neck. Like, why practice more of the kind of posture that we probably do too much of and that causes pain? Just make sure, let your neck just go along with the rest of you into just a nice C curve of your spine. And then you can look up and look out as you rotate the other way. Okay, so putting the weight into play, go ahead and get into that upright position. Hold that weight out. Establish that you have a posterior tilt. The shoulder blade is not here. And then ask your low back, is it feeling any tension? If people are really cranking their low backs into extension to try to get upright, that could irritate you if your low back has some sensitivity. So you can actually push that right knee into the ground, tuck under with your glute, and that's going to disallow lumbar extension. And the effort that you make will be through your mid-back extensors. So go ahead, practice that a couple more times. Again, you can go over your right knee, that direction, kind of line that up with your right thigh. Or you could reach more in the direction that your left thigh is going, or somewhere in the middle. It's all good. Again, we're just practicing a pattern and we're exaggerating it so that you really get a feel of, that's what it feels like for that muscle to get engaged. This is not so that every time you reach out, you go into this exaggerated, like, here, honey, here's your lunch pail for the day. Like, maybe if you packed, a huge thing of lasagna, yeah, you really get engaged. But this is practicing a pattern so that as you engage with life, lift that child up, whatever you're doing, you can remember and find these muscles in this position, which is going to save your neck and your shoulder. A lot of parts of you are going to be so much happier. Okay, if you want to stick around for another 5 minutes, I'm going to go over kind of how your posture choices can translate to some more typical resistance exercises that you might do in the gym, in your home gym. Yeah, sort of extra credit here. So bear with me a minute. I have to transition the camera again. Okay, that will be okay. So, we don't need this. So I'm thinking of a bench row. Okay, where you kind of maybe got your hand on the bench even, or if you really want some thoracic work, no support. Anyhow, as you have that weight towards the floor, it's okay to let your shoulder blade be in a forwards tilt. You could allow your back to be rounded. Like if you want to do a lighter weight and really go through a range, perfectly great. That's so functional. It's so good. If you want to focus more on a little heavier weight and just pinpointing specific muscles, that's fine too. Once you know what you're doing, you can do what you want without getting hurt. Often I will start people out with just kind of, okay, let's find that good scapular muscle engagement, mid and lower traps, not upper traps, and keep it there, and then add a little bit of a row to it, right? So the thing that you want to avoid, the thing that makes me cringe when I see it, is when people come up from the row and they keep, it's forwards, it's still, the shoulder blade is tilted forwards. That is supraspinatus crying right there. And I see it a lot in really strong but rigid guys that are lifting weights, and that happens. If they could just get there, it would be so much happier for their shoulder. So you can go through a whole range of motion, but just make sure as you come up that shoulder is back. And now you know what that feels like in a variety of positions, lying on the floor, sitting, standing. You can identify that. And that is really good. Okay. Let's do a couple cable things. So if you can see, this is not exactly ideal. So I'm going to mimic like a tricep extension. Let's get tricep pull down. So there, can you see the difference here versus get back, get upright here. That is a huge difference. You're going to feel it way more in your triceps. You're going to continue to break habits of always engaging pecs, always engaging some other things that don't, like, what are we doing here? There you go. And it will turn into a really good scapular muscle strengthener as well. Okay? One more, I think. Let's talk about a little reverse fly. Is this gonna work? Okay. So, yeah. A reverse fly should look something like this. My shoulder blades are staying upright, posterior tilt, and they're coming towards my spine. And then as my arms go forwards, obviously they're going to skate, my shoulder blades are going to skate around more to the sides of my rib cage. What you don't want is staying rounded, staying tilted, and then trying to row back. And I see that. And that, again, that's impingement right here. Open up, drop the weight lower, find a weight where you can get here. And it kind of does, you're kind of pushing your chest out and exaggerating it. That's the full range of that exercise. That's the potential of that exercise. Things that we do like this that help balance out the postures that we are in during the day, hopefully not that bad, but our hands, we do things, we do life in front of us. Yes. Biceps, pecs, those things get involved. We need to balance it out. So things that work our back muscles that help us to open up are just really good for us. Okay, I hope that this helps many of you do life, take your strengthening to the next level, whatever goals you have, to meet them with more awareness of where your body's at, what things are working, what the possibilities are, and yeah, have fun with it. All right, until next time, take care. Okay, we'll do it this way.